Juna Muller began as a preschool student at Oak Grove School when she was 4 years old and graduated 14 years later from a high school. She went on to Colorado College and after graduation spent a year as an intern at a women's semester where she taught high school students about sustainability and activism, building houses with farm workers and visiting the Mexico-Arizona border to explore immigration issues. She is a wilderness first responder and trip leader, a farmer, a yoga teacher, a musician, and a singer-songwriter, a quilter, a cook, an artist, a dancer, a writer, and community builder. Please welcome Juna Muller. Thank you, Tohan. That was extensive. And thank you all for having me here. I'm really grateful to be here today. Oak Grove is an unusual place to go to school. I've been told this. When people learn about my alternative education, they inevitably ask me, so what was so different about it? At first, I was baffled by this question, having very little to compare it to. I'm a lifer. But over the years, I've begun to better understand what sets this school apart. What I've started to say when asked the inevitable is that Oak Grove supported me in learning to be in relationship. I mean this both in terms of the fact that I knew my teachers and they knew me, but also in that I was encouraged to examine all the ways I relate to the world around me and to myself. I was allowed the opportunity here to wonder something we all want to know. How do we learn to relate to ourselves and to others as we really want to? Oak Grove presented an uncommon response to this question. Rather than imparting cliched advice, this school offered me instead a useful tool, which came in the form of silence. In my schooling at Oak Grove, I spent a lot of time in silence. Not because I was particularly quiet, but in group silence. Let's see, so every week for about 5 minutes in assembly, preschool, middle school, and elementary school, and every day for about 3 minutes in morning meeting in high school. So if you carry the one, no, I actually attempted to calculate this, and the figure I came up with was approximately 3,300 minutes, or 55 hours I had spent in silence with my teachers and peers at Oak Grove. Now you may already know this, but in our country's not so recent history, shortly after the time that prayer was banned from public schooling, silence was also banned. Silence in group, held with intention, being a form of prayer for some faiths. So what that means is that this is a very unusual and even controversial practice to be held during school. But if I think back to my schooling here, that silence speaks awfully loudly to what Oak Grove tries to foster in its students. We were never really instructed in what to do with the silence. It was not time for prayer, although maybe some use it that way. It was not time to think about what you did. Actually, it was more like ninja training than either of those. It cultivated our long-forgotten attention spans. The silence we held together worked. You didn't have to believe anything for it to work. It still worked, in the sense that it honed our abilities to sit with ourselves in a very practical way. This silence provided one employable answer to the question of how. How do I treat people and myself as I really want to? And how do I even know how I want to do that? Pay attention. Sit with it. And perhaps most of all, you are the one who knows what you need best. When you sit and pay attention, it gets you to authenticity. If you're really attending to yourself, attending your own party, so to speak, something magical happens where you're led to start acting as you want to act, speaking as you want to speak. and you can almost taste the relief. With practice, you begin to trust your innate wisdom and not follow an external authority. In my eyes, we need more people who are willing to follow their own inspiration. We need more people who are willing to pay attention long enough to care about what's happening around them. And there are a few places where, especially children, are being given not just practical advice, but practical experience in growing this willingness. But this is one of those places. Thank you.